Very good morning. Welcome to all of you. Today we are going to discuss about the admissibility of electronic evidence in the Indian courts. With our country is moving towards e-governance, the new government at the center have initiated various e-initiative, Digital India movement. So the country is moving towards digitization. The same is true about the litigation, whether it may be civil or criminal. On an average, in every third case, we have electronic evidence which is being filed in the court cases, whether it may be in the form of computer printout, a bank statement, or data into CD or DVD. In order to prove the electronic evidence in the court, the Indian Evidence Act was amended in the year 2000 and a section 65B of the Electronic Evidence Act, electronic evidence was added. But since then, the compliance to section 65B was not being made by the litigant, it may be state or the private parties, in the true spirit. Now, after the passing of the judgment of in the matter of Anwar PV versus P.K. Bashir by the Supreme Court, all the cases where the electronic evidence was filed without section 65B, the fate of such cases is swinging towards acquittal, and the prosecutions are facing challenges towards how to make it admissible. So we will discuss what the section 65B is, how its compliance is required to be made, who can issue the certificate. So coming to the proving of electronic record in the court of law, like any other type of documents, it can be proved either by way of primary evidence. So primary evidence means the data which is into the original form. So if we talk about the data which is into the computer, then the primary evidence would be the hard disk which contain that particular data. Secondary evidence implies its output, which may be in the form of printout or data into the CD or DVD. So it can be proved either by way of primary evidence or by the secondary evidence. Prior to the judgment of Anwar PV, the Supreme Court in the judgment of State versus Navjot Sandhu has held that the compliance to section 65B is not mandatory and the electronic evidence can be proved by virtue of section 63 and 65 of the Evidence Act. The judgment of Anwar PV versus P.K. Bashir was passed in the year 2014, and in this judgment, the Supreme Court has held that the earlier judgment of State versus Navjot Sandhu is overruled to the extent of admissibility of electronic evidence. Compliance to section 65B is mandatory. It has an overriding effect over the other provision of the law. So the Evidence Act electronic evidence can be proved in the court of law either by way of primary evidence, which would be admissible in section 62 of the Evidence Act, or by way of secondary evidence by virtue of section 65B of the Evidence Act. If there is no certificate under section 65B with the secondary evidence, then any expert opinion taken on such evidence is not admissible. If the secondary electronic evidence is without section 65B, even no oral testimony can be resorted on such evidence. So let us discuss in the practical perspective. Earlier, all the investigation agencies, when particularly in the anti-corruption cases, whenever they are going on the spot, they used to go with one digital voice recorder. And after recording, that particular transcript conversation recording is being transferred on a CD, and the data from the DVR is deleted and the DVR is used in a subsequent read. Then that CD is being sent to the forensic lab for opinion, particularly from two perspectives. The first is regarding the matching of the voice, and second is regarding the integrity of that particular evidence. Then the charge sheet was being filed on the basis of these evidences, particularly CDs containing these voice recording in the court of law. Now what is the implication of this judgment? Number one, since the original have been deleted, destroyed, no certificate under section 65B can be issued. Secondly, there is no certificate under section 65B, so the forensic opinion which is taken from that particular lab cannot be proved in the court of law, it cannot be exhibited, and even the oral testimony cannot be made to the content of that CD. So the ultimate impact is neither that CD nor that expert opinion can be exhibited or proved in the court of law, and even there cannot be any oral testimony on the content of that CD by the witness while giving his testimony in the court of law. Now coming to what section 65B is. So section 65B talks about the secondary evidence of an electronic record. So secondary evidence implies the evidence which is printed on a paper or the data which is transferred on a magnetic or optical media. So it says it would be admissible in the court of law without production of the original, provided conditions are satisfied. Number one, related to information. Number two, relating to the questions. So if these conditions are satisfied, then it would be admissible in any proceeding in the court of law. Now let us see what are these conditions. So the first we have the condition relating to the computers. So when we talk about the condition relating to the computer, the said computer should be regularly used to store or process the information. Such computer should have been used for carrying the activity regularly, particularly relating to that electronic record which is into the question. Suppose if it is a banking record, then such computer should have been used for storing such information regularly. Then such computer should be under lawful control and operating properly. So these are the conditions relating to the computers. Then we have the condition relating to the information. The information which is being proved in the court of law, which is accompanied by a certificate under section 65B of the Evidence Act, should have been produced by the computer in ordinary course of activities. And the second condition is such information should be derived from the information which is fed into the computer. So if we take the example of bank, now that information is being fed into the bank computers, and then the printout comes from the information which is already fed into the computer. 65B3, which is a very important section, because it says all the computers which are connected in a network where such activities are being carried out shall be treated as one. So what it implies? It implies if there are a number of computers which are connected either in LAN environment or WAN environment, they would be treated as one computer for the purpose of section 65B of the Evidence Act. So what its implication is, suppose you have an account in Bombay and now you want to prove that document in Delhi court. Whether you are required to go to the Bombay court, Bombay for getting the account statement from your bank? No. You can go to the local branch because the computer at the local branch are also connected to the server, and Bombay account is also connected to the server. So all these computers are connected in a WAN environment, and for the purpose of section 65B, they would be treated as one computer. So it's a very important section in that perspective. Second part, which is also very important, you see in the IT industry, the hardware and software changes normally over a span of 3 to 5 years. Now, any evidence which is into the computer 5 years back may be in a different computer, having a different operating system, different hardware. So to meet that particular change in technology, upgradation of technology, it says that different computers which are operating in succession, they would be treated as one computer. So if the computer has been changed, the operating system has been changed, software has been changed, it will not make any difference for the purpose of section 65B of the Evidence Act. Coming to the content of certificate, what should be the content of certificate? Number one, it should identify the electronic record. So that means if you are proving the bank statement, so your certificate should refer that it relates to the particular document or particular computer printout which you are going to prove, and also giving the manner in which it was produced. Then particular of any device involved in the production of electronic record, and apart from that all the conditions relating to the information and the computers which we have discussed in the earlier 2 slides, which are provided in section 65B subsection 2. Now the question is, who can give a certificate? Certificate can be given by any person who occupies a responsible official position in relation to the operation of relevant device. So that means if there is a bank, then the particular person who is sitting on the particular that computer, he occupies the position. Then the person who is server in charge of that particular branch, he also occupies the responsible position. Then even the person who is the branch manager, who may also be occupying a position relating to that device, provided he is a computer literate. Then we have a second part, the management of relevant activities. So if a person is involved into the management of that activities, now what do you mean by relevant activities? Relevant activities means the activities involved into the production, storage of that particular data which is going to be proved in the court of law. So both the persons are competent to give the certificate. Thank you. If you have any question, let me know at my email ID cyber.nk@gmail.com. Thank you.